Hey Scorpio, sorry you didn't get a June, but you're going to get a July, and you are first for the July 2018 readings. I am not in my normal setup, so there's going to be some noise in the background with traffic and whatnot, but we're going to make this work. So, starting out with your affirmations deck, the overall advice and guidance. You have ups and downs and ultimate potential. With ups and downs, if we think about some of the best stories or experiences in life, they um, they all have this element of like the emotional or adrenaline roller coaster. They have where, maybe it was a little scary in the beginning or the middle or the end, but there was really positive aspects to it also. Um, you know, Getting fired from a job can be very scary, but yet accepting a new offer can be exciting and fulfilling. Finding out that you are about to be a mom or a dad might be very scary, but seeing your child when they're born really just totally makes up for all of the fear. And so, as you go through the ups and downs in life, don't forget to be thankful for the good that is mixed in with the maybe not so good. And with the ultimate potential, I really like this card because it's one of those where once you finally get it, everything in life has so much more color. There's so many more scattered rainbows than just the black and white or the pastel. So when you realize that your vibe really does attract your tribe, you become more mindful of that and you start tuning into your higher version of yourself and surrounding yourself with the people who are just as passionate about living life to its fullest potential, about embracing your highest version of yourself. And that is exciting. That it's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Everything looks, pretty okay as you're going through. But then it's like you hit this pivotal moment where you're like, I feel so much more driven when I'm around these people. I feel so much more optimistic. I feel so much more supported. Life looks a whole lot more enjoyable. And then you start to purposely spend more time around those people. And so with the affirmations deck, find your tribe. But first, check your vibe. Make sure that your vibe is attracting those that you want to be around. Make sure your vibe is who you want to be around. Your spirit guides have offered Spirit of Air and Tracker for their advice and guidance for you for the month of July. And with the Spirit of Air, they say that Spirit is whispering to you to see life in a new perspective. Maybe sometimes it takes a moment where you're stopped dead in your tracks to be able to finally hear the truth of others, and for you to allow yourself to be vulnerable to speak your truth. The light blue and the dark blue on this Spirit of Air card. The dark blue can sometimes signify our third eye chakra. The lighter blue can sometimes signify our throat chakra. And perhaps seeing these two colors is indicative that you need to clear those chakras in order to be able to know what your truth is and communicate it. Seeing things in a new light can be very freeing. It's like a weight being lifted. And if you think about it with the air, it's like when it is 90 some degrees out with 90 some percent humidity and you walk into the AC. It takes your breath away for a second, but at the same time it sure is easier and lighter to breathe. Scorpio, you guys are such dreamers. Like, you are so creative and you just have the imagination of a child. It is absolutely inspiring to see. And being the dreamers that you are, it's sometimes easy for you to get caught up in all the plans or the possibilities that a situation or a product or a person has. But your spirit guides are asking you to dial in your focus on just one passion, one plan, one project. And it's kind of like cleaning the house. You know, like if you only do half of the dishes and you sweep but you don't mop. You spray down the shower with the little foam stuff but you don't really scrub it. All those things remain on your to-do list because you can't just halfway check them off. So just complete one thing at a time, and it will bring a sense of accomplishment and then encouragement to keep going and help with your motivation. You will be less confused. You will feel like you have a clear direction that you're going. For your work, career, and finance, well, not the greatest of cards, but we're gonna see what we can come up with on these. So the Nine of Wands. This technically can be the sign of, like the turbulent waters like you see in the picture. But the most beneficial thing or the most productive thing to do when you get into this phase or when you feel like this is approaching is to get out of your head. Don't contribute to the dis-ease of your environment or your work environment. And be mindful that some things are out of your control. It's the blessings in disguise that normally turn out to be pretty epic stories and experiences. The Seven of Cups, if you look, it's like even though she can, float above the water, she still can't reach the cups. The whole card in general is just kind of all over the place, a little confusing. So if there is confusion, we need to understand that confusion happens when we allow too many thoughts in. You can have more success this month if you go fishing and you use just a simple rod and reel. Not with like a crappy rig on it, just single hook. You can throw a worm or a, whatever you want on the end of it, I guess. Minnow, I guess, whatever. But you don't need a big net. You're not like on Deadliest Catch. Be simple. Because that way you are placed in that like quality control officer position. So you can focus on the quality of what's coming in. And when you're doing that and you're looking at things a little bit closer, you are able to see the little details. And it can help you to not fall for something that maybe is too good to be true. That little fine print that you wouldn't notice if it was a big, net full of fish and you have a tire mixed in with it. Well, you aren't necessarily going to see that. But with a single hook, you can inspect that fish pretty good. Love and relationships. You guys have 3 cards for that one. Children, illusion, memories. Children are resilient. They are so resilient. I mean, whether it be in their friendships when, another kid takes their toy or they say something mean. They just go running back up, say they're sorry, they apologize, and they're like, okay, well, yep, we're friends again. And you're like, all right, sounds good. And they're also resilient even though they do feel the effects of that relationship roller coaster. They are far more resilient than we are, to be quite honest. So keep in mind that children will always function at their highest potential when they feel loved and they feel secure in their home. Just like adults, people are meant to come and go from their life. Come into their life, teach a lesson, and go. Sometimes it's just harder to see our children suffer from that, or what we see as suffering, because that's our paternal, maternal nature. With the illusion, your ego is chained to something that's comfortable, but not necessarily healthy. So maybe to a comfortable but unhealthy lifestyle, or relationship, or perspective on your life, or maybe the perception of success. It's time to give yourself an honest reality check, Scorpio. Stop hanging on to the past and live that more realistic, legit, happy future that you absolutely have. And maybe that will be easier to do when you keep in mind what the memory card has to offer. And that is that everyone who enters into your life is meant to be there for a certain amount of time. Every person, every job, every experience that you have, every pet. I mean, you can break it down to every pair of underwear if you want. But they are there for just a certain amount of time. So it's after learning and growing from the lessons that person, place, thing has taught you that you will be able to find peace in their departure and clear the illusion and be present in your home to create that loving, that secure feeling in your home environment. And for your spirit animal, you guys have the squirrel. So I was watching a video earlier of this squirrel who jumps onto a feeder and then ends up doing like this twirling around on the bottom, and then totally, looks like some acrobat from the circus and just all graceful about the dismount, and totally reminds me of you, Scorpio. I mean, like, when you guys are really in your element and you are just truly being yourselves, you guys can be just childlike or free or hilarious or graceful or fun or passionate, all wrapped up into one. Whatever you want to throw into that for ingredients, the end product is still amazing. The helicopter says hi. So, with the squirrel, be mindful of your fears and your thoughts. Because when those two things come together, they form like this self-limiting perspective on any specific area in your life. When a squirrel is preparing for a new season, they only take what serves them. They only take what they're gonna need. Like, they don't let all the thoughts of like, oh my gosh, what if, during this season we need, 5 different outfits, like when you're going on vacation and you're like, well, I'm going to pack 3 outfits for each day just depending on the temperature. I'm going to pack healthy snacks and, like the quick ones, the ones that need to be refrigerated, the ones that don't. The squirrel's like, fuck this. We know this. We got this. We know it's working for us. We know it's worked in the past. We're going to bring X amount of this and we're going to leave the rest behind. We're going to let it go. So take that lesson and put that into action in your own life. Leave the pain, leave the negative emotions. And those negative emotions are on other people or on yourself. And let them go. Leave them in the past, because the situation is in the past. And trust, just like the squirrel does, that you are going to have everything you need to sustain life in the future. You guys have a great month coming up in July, not only because there's so much shedding or cleaning or decluttering happening, but also because you guys come to life, or you are functioning at your best when there's the slightest bit of challenge or competition set in front of you. You're like, oh, bring it on. So, Scorpio, bring it on. July 2018. I will see you in August 2018. Have a good one.